Welcome to Table Takes. It's May 10th going on here. And you guys, just a quick reminders for those who are still talking with their feminine parent. It's going to be Mother's Day. It's going to be Mother's Day soon. So in case you forgot, I'm just warning you, pick up some quick flowers or something like that. But other than that, how folks been? And hey, look who's back. Peter's in the house. How has it
Hey,
been?
Good to be back.
Well, do you want to fill us in on the cool grand adventure you had or anything like that?
Oh,
What you've been doing?
yeah. So yeah, I went to Morocco. I went to Morocco for a week and a half with former Gen Con CEO Adrian Sportout, who's a dear friend, and my wife Dee, and we went shopping. We ate lots of great Moroccan food. We did a Moroccan cooking class where we went with the people that are running the cooking class, met us in the souk, and we went out and bought all the vegetables and the meat, and then we went out to their farm and cooked it all into this fabulous Moroccan meal.
wow.
And it was so good, but there was so much food. We were like, what do you do with the extra food? Well, as we were leaving, we figured it out because all the neighbors came over.
Oh, that's nice. Very farm
Also,
to table. Yeah.
yeah, it was very farm to table, and we rode some camels, and I don't know, it was just a nice time. I managed. It took me about 3 days to completely forget about you all, but I eventually did. But it's good to be back. So
I'm
glad.
I'm glad you remembered us after your Moroccan escape to riding camel. And such and it's good to have you back.
Thank you.
All, but yeah, also, Noir, you seem like you're in a galaxy far, far away. How have you been this week?
Spaced out.
Woo!
Okay, I'm
Hey!
I'm sorry about that.
Oh.
No, I've had a pretty chill week. Got some really fun projects coming up. Other than that though, I've just been getting a lot of sleep, taking care of myself while doing all that good stuff. But you reminded me that it's Mother's Day, and now I'm panicked.
It's not today. It's gonna be on Sunday. So don't worry,
Yeah,
you'll be
yeah,
fine. You'll be
yeah,
fine. DoorDash
yeah.
something good. That's gonna be something. But yeah, no worry. I'm glad we promote self-care, self-love. We love that for everybody. And last but not least, Javion, how have you been,
I've been
friend?
great, Bonsai. Thanks for asking. Playing all my farming games got me thinking about green stuff. So I picked up a green screen. Actually, this is from my buddy Jeff for my birthday coming up soon. So I'm planning on putting something in there. I'm not really sure how to do all of that yet, but look forward to maybe next week me having some sort of dragon horde of dice or some portal to another dimension or something. I haven't decided yet. We'll see. It'll be fun.
Mm.
Other than that, though, not a ton else. I finally got back into playing Dice Throne and Unmatched. These two-player sort of battling games. I've been looking forward to trying Path of the Aram Tier, which is that two-player RPG system that I backed on Kickstarter that finally came out. Oh, and I finally, I think a bunch of people actually today got the pledge manager for the MCDM RPG. So I confirmed all of that, got the add-ons, upgraded to getting the limited edition hardcover because I am positive this is going to be super fun.
Ooh, very, very nice. I'm glad you were able to get your limited edition copy. You're always on point with those emails when you're like, yes, updates.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I know
Um,
people who have thousands of unread emails in their inbox, and I could never be one of them. It is one of my greatest regrets that my boyfriend still has 60,000 that he needs to get through. So
oh,
maybe I'll have to go into his phone and fix that for him.
yeah, 60,000 is a lot. Well, oh, for me, guess what? I've gotten back into custom shoemaking and painting. So I'm trying to do stuff for the 50th anniversary of D&D coming up. I did an ancient red dragon. I need some opinions, folks. What can I put in the background? It's too gray. I like that the dragon pops out, but I need something else. I don't know. Please
Mm.
comment either in YouTube comments or a
Storm
chat
clouds and
comment.
lightning.
Lightning, but it's in a cave.
It
How is
doesn't
there
have to
lightning
be.
in a cave? I mean, no, that actually might. blue, maybe a little bit of blue, you think? All right,
Yeah.
I'll take that into consideration. Thank
Yeah,
you.
just go ahead, put that on the side instead of the half.
That's the most challenging question you've asked on this show. I mean, that's
Size to have. I do have all these shoes, but yeah, I've been getting back into custom shoe painting, and doing some of that stuff. But you know what? Now that we talk about 50th anniversary,
yes.
Peter, you got something on the
That's
works.
right. That's right. Take that. That's a nice handoff there, Bonsai. Yes, I'm so excited. We are doing a series for the next 6 weeks, starting tomorrow, every Saturday, starting tomorrow for 6 weeks. We are celebrating the 50 years of Dungeons and Dragons by having a series of events that focus on the different editions of Dungeons and Dragons. So tomorrow we're going to start at the beginning. Tomorrow we're going to focus on original Dungeons and Dragons as it was played in 1974. Who better to DM this than John Peterson, D&D historian, who is going to come down to the Chaldea Studios and run a game for Bonsai and Jeff
Wow.
Grubb and Gabriel Vega and Chris Pramus from Green Ronin. And we're going to talk about D&D and its origins, and then we're going to play a game as they played it in 1974. I think we have a trailer. AJ, can you run a trailer for us?
I'm John Peterson, and I am looking forward to helping some players to attack the original 1970s edition of Dungeons and Dragons.
Hi, I'm Jeff Grubb, and I'm really looking forward to be playing original D&D with John Peterson as our DM.
Hi, this is Chris Pramus, and I'm going to be talking about original D&D from 1974. Very excited about it. This was my first entry into D&D and began my journey into hobby gaming as a whole, so you could seriously say it changed my life.
Hi, I'm Bonsai Baby, and I'm going to be playing original D&D for the first time.
Hi, my name is Gabriel Vega, and I'm here and excited and thrilled to be talking about my experiences with the original version of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, how's that? That looks pretty cool, huh? I think it looks great. Thanks to Steve Connor for putting that together, and thanks for the all the videos from Bonsai and Jeff and John, everybody. Thank you for doing that for us. Future weeks we will have Luke Gygax, Zeb Cook, Jonathan Tweet, Rob Heinzu, and Mike Merles. The lead design for 4 of the editions, the lead designers of that edition will be here with us on a subsequent Saturday. So yeah, that's what I got, Bonsai. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and thank you for coming.
Oh no, yeah, thank you for inviting me, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. So if you guys didn't pay attention to the time, it is going to be at 10 p.m. Pacific time.
A.M. Tim A.M.
Oh, sorry, 10 a.m. Sorry, my bad. 10 a.m. Pacific time. I don't know why I said p.m. in my head. I was like p.m., but I was like no, a.m. I think it's because Pacific time and a.m. got mixed up in my brain.
Yeah, you wouldn't be the first to get confused about the time that this show starts.
This is true. A little behind the scenes. Somebody sent out that it was an hour earlier than we thought. And then I panicked.
Some old man who shouldn't probably not be typing.
Well, in any case, speaking about D&D, I have some news for folks as well. So this comes from Chase Carter from Dicebreaker and also D&D Beyond. Thank you so much for giving us the news of these articles. D&D 2024 rule set to be released under the Creative Commons license. So if you don't remember last year, there was a big debacle and controversy over the OGL. WotC announced that they're going to be moving 5th edition SRD, System Reference Document, to the Creative Commons license. This, of course, left a lot of the community has a lot of like a few big questions hanging out and about. And that would be, so would the SRD be valid for 3.5? Are they going to be putting that into there? Are they going to move the 3.5 into the creative or the common license? And will the massive updates happen to 50 over the years? Like, will that also be covered by the new SRD? So WotC has announced yes to both questions. WotC said the SRD 5.2 will be released within the few weeks, into the into the Creative Commons license, with the update of the monster manual in February. They also plan, so this is something that I'm just my paranoid self put on my little hat. They plan to move the older SRDs into the Creative Commons, but they haven't done it yet because they want to prioritize 5.2 material. But after its release, they will review the materials from older editions and release all of that onto the Creative Commons as well. So with that being said, what do y'all think about these, about one, kind of getting a little bit of a sigh of relief because some stuff is going on the Creative Commons license, but there's still that like 3.5 in the air.
Well, I
What do
mean,
y'all
I
have?
I mean, clearly it's a great idea. I mean, they should be doing this. It's really good. It seems like the natural next step after, based on historically the D20 license and the SRD and the OGL, all stuff like that. And I guess I'm not yet concerned about some stuff not being available. I mean, it's a process to make this stuff available. Makes sense to me that they would start with contemporary material first and then backfill with the older stuff later. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm definitely reserving judgment until this actually does happen, because we've heard announcements and we've heard reversals on announcements, and it's hard to get really invested in good news this early on. So,
Fair.
man, how long have we actually been waiting for like some substantial change? You know what I'm saying? We've seen a lot of actual teasers over and over and over
Yeah.
again. I'm just waiting until we actually hear some real meat,
I'm just a little sensitive to what's happening, mainly because 3.5 is like it's where I started, so it's my favorite. So it's just like, man, don't fool around with this one. Like you can play your games with 4th edition. Don't play games with 3.5. That's where my heart is.
I could kiss you tomorrow, but probably good.
I think that's like a saying for a lot of folks, that they're like 3.5 is, at least for a lot of folks, not to put a crown on somebody's head in the chat or anything like that, but a lot of folks who are exposed and have been playing D&D started with 3.5. So it's I'm gonna hold to their word that they're going to put it under the CC, and then everything will be well. Sometimes things come with age and time, and sometimes when you have things aged, they make it into a pristine condition that maybe be selling for millions of dollars. What do you have about that, Peter?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Sometimes things get better with age. I mean, so I'm told. So this feature is brought to us by Petrana Radulovic at Polygon. There are few constants in this chaotic life: death, taxes, and Magic the Gathering's Black Lotus card selling for increasingly absurd sums of money. An Alpha Black Lotus card fetched $3 million at auction last week. Grading company CGC Cards announced in an Instagram post. This particular card is not only super rare, but also in pristine condition. Quote, the transaction went down in a private sale between Adam Kai of Pristine Collectibles and a mystery buyer, shattering previous records, the post reads. In 2021, a signed Black Lotus card went for a record high $511,100 at auction, a record broken not once but twice in 2003, going for $615,000 at its highest. For comparison, just 5 years ago, the rare card went for $166,000. This most recent $3 million deal, though, doesn't just represent the highest sale price of a Black Lotus card, but the highest Magic the Gathering card sale ever. The previous record was set in 2023 by rapper Post Malone when he purchased a rare Lord of the Rings themed card for $2 million. The Black Lotus card dates back to the first alpha printing of Magic the Gathering in 1993 Yeah, I remember. Not only is it a rare card, only about 1,100 were printed, it's a powerful one. It costs no mana to play, but adds 3 mana of any color to your pool. So it's a great shortcut to casting powerful spells early in the game. It's one of the Power 9 set of cards that have been banned from most formats of competitive play because of their overwhelming power.
Wow. I'm just gonna say that's all I can say. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of money.
Anonymous buyer. I wonder who it could possibly be. Hey, Peter, what were you doing on vacation with with
In
and you say,
Morocco,
sure.
Uh,
eating food.
A likely story.
I had a friend who collected all of Alpha and Beta, had them very neatly put in a cardboard box, and their dad got mad at them for collecting magic cards because they thought it was the devil.
Yeah.
And we were all over their house when he threw the boxes into the fireplace. And
Oh.
I'm looking at this article now and I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Imagine if you did have one. Let's say you go back in time, you get an Alpha Black Lotus, you know how much it's going to be worth, and trying to hold on to it. The temptation to sell it off, just having to fight that off over and over and over again, and then still keep it in pristine condition until today. Like the restraint, the care that goes into doing something like
Well,
that, I don't even think I could do that.
and even the pristine condition part of it like might be outside your control in the sense that there were cards that when you open up the pack they might not be in pristine condition worthy of a 10.0, right? All happens if like that particular display box had too much weight on it and the cards bend a little bit or whatever the hell, so yeah, it's yeah, I don't know, it's just
We need to
weird.
get
It's
our
just crazy.
scientists working on restoring cards, like being able to upgrade. Imagine being able to upgrade the quality of your like ripped card or something like that. Like that seems like a huge money maker to me.
I
Well,
watched that card burn. I watched $3 million burn in my life.
this is the trauma is linked, that core memory linked to Noir. I think, well, so this, I don't have my conspiracy hat, so I'm just gonna put shoe on head. This is my conspiracy with this is like card collection is becoming a lot of the ways, like this is my opinion, ways of like a lot of like very high-end art. And I have like a suspicion, like, is this eventually gonna turn into like, not saying that it does, but money laundering? I don't know. There's like maybe a undergrad seed of like people using collective cards as way of like transferring money in a certain way. I don't know. That's just me and my conspiracy.
I
Yeah.
don't think you're too far off, Bonsai. I did have
Yeah.
one take
Yeah, I think you
secondary
might be on
market
there.
dealer tell me that he tracked the dramatic increases in prices of secondary market cards to the rise of cryptocurrencies. And we all know that cryptocurrencies are evil devil spawn. I mean, that's
But what about the blockchain? No, I'm just kidding. Don't listen.
Okay.
Well, as
Bonsai,
my
save us
dad
from this
says,
discussion.
it's not
Oh
about
Let's move
yeah.
on,
No, I
please.
was just gonna say all this future talk, we'll
Mhm.
have to see how things go if it's gonna be, going into the cyberpunk universe. What do you think, Noir?
I have no idea.
You know?
I'm just kidding. Oh, almost 2 years later, Cyberpunk Edge Runner's starter set for tabletop RPG Red will finally see a release. Real quick shout out to Chase Carter for making this article happen. So, Cyberpunk Red's bridge between the celebrated TTRPG and the smash hit Netflix anime Edge Runners finally gets a release date. Cyberpunk Edge Runners mission kit, first announced in 2022, will land in June of this year and send players deep in a night city, changed in small but meaningful ways by Lucy, Rebecca, and the rest of the crew. Developed by R. Talasaurian Games in coordination with Cyberpunk 2077 developer CD Projekt Red, this box will give anime fans a comprehensive and easy access into the tabletop world of Cyberpunk as first imagined by creator Mike Podsmith. No formal knowledge of Cyberpunk Red is needed to start running and quick hacking, but veteran players will enjoy a version of Night City that's much closer to the 2070 era of the futuristic dystopian world. Tucked inside the box will be a handbook of broad lore and world building so that you can understand the differences between chomes and gonks, along with a rule book that explores the nitty-gritty rolling of dice, dodging suits, installing cyberware, and everything else. If you're unfamiliar with the system, it uses a single 10-sided die that you'll be rolling during contests before adding relevant skills, attributed bonuses from gear, and other bits. The number is compared to a difficulty value set by the GM in order to determine success or failure. And there's a lot more going on here in the core gameplay that involves doing a risky thing and rolling for success or complications. So if you're a fan of the anime or a fan of the video game and you kind of want to get more of that sweet lore, this is a great way to do it. I haven't watched all of the anime yet myself. I hear it's pretty sad, so I don't feel like crying. But I am super excited for this. And note that Cyberpunk Edge Runner Mission Kit will hit retail in mid to late June, according to the publisher, though they do hold out for a caveat of unforeseen circumstances. Physical boxes will be available from our Talasaurian Games website and local hobby shops later, while digital versions can be purchased from Drive-Thru RPG. And virtual tabletop conversions for Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds should roll out shortly after release. So, we got any Cyberpunk fans here? Or is it just me?
Yeah, I watched the series. It's very bittersweet sadness. I will admit that. Also, I didn't realize it's been 2 years. Wow.
Yeah. The video game 2077 did not have the greatest launch. When the game came out on some systems, it was unplayable, but the team at CD Projekt Red did diligent work. They never gave up on it, and now it is a very smooth, complete, and just addicting video game.
Really?
So I am
Good.
eager to take the love that I've kind of learned to have for Cyberpunk from the video game and see about it on the tabletop, because I've only played Cyberpunk at the table once and it was pretty cool, but I didn't know about anything going on at the time.
Well, I'm really glad that I'm always really excited about any good news that relates to R. Talsorian and Cyberpunk and Mike Pondsmith. I mean, I'm an older guy, so I got to give it up for the old guys that are still in this business. Who's how many? There's had to have been 100 RPGs published in the 80s and 90s, and how many of them are still around? So it's great to see them going strong.
I love Mike Pondsmith, and it's so peculiar that like he has a proxy a version of him in the video game, and like things don't go well for that individual, and I'm like, why would you do that? I love that.
That's great. It's fabulous.
No, so that's great to hear that they have the updates coming up for that, and yeah. We'll have to just see more to come as things get slowly released. Speaking of which, more things have been changing it up this year, right, Peter?
That's right. This feature is brought to us by Milton Grip at ICV2. The Game Manufacturers Association, aka GAMA, has moved the dates of the GAMA Expo, its annual trade show, 2 weeks to avoid conflict with Toy Fair dates, which were overlapping several days of the GAMA show. The organization announced the 2024 dates for GAMA Expo, 2025 dates, are moving from March 3 to 6, 2025, 2 weeks earlier to February. These are the real dates now, February 23 to 27, with Toy Fair running March 1 through 4. This will allow exhibitors and attendees to do both shows with a short gap in between. Beyond avoiding the conflict, GAMA was also looking to make sure it had the capacity to handle the record numbers of exhibitors and attendees at the 2024 show, which would not have been available in the original dates. To step backwards from what we delivered this year is unacceptable, GAMA Executive Director John Stacy said in communicating the change. So I first looked at this article. I was like, is this newsworthy? But then I realized in my calendar, I'd already put the old date. So I was really glad I saw this release. I thought, yeah, we should definitely mention that the dates for next year have changed, and these are what the new dates are. And by the way, it's so exciting to see Gamma doing well. I mean, I consider the Gamma trade show, the Gamma Expo, as something of an indicator of how well the industry is doing. And so when the interest in Gamma is going up and to the right, that's good news for the rest of us.
Well, maybe
No,
someday I'll actually go to one of these too. I'm usually so preoccupied with going to Gen Con. I don't really think about going to other conventions, but I know Gamma's definitely on my list. It's up there with like the Eschen Spiel or like Board Game Geek Con or like Shut Up and Sit Down Con, all those different ones.
Yeah, highly recommend it.
Yeah, definitely. And at least like for those who do want to go to the toy fair and Gamma, you now have an opportunity to have that spaced out. I like it when things do that, when they are like, hey, but that also makes it so vendors don't have to fight over which ones, just from a background
True.
perspective. Yeah. So vendors are like, oh, I have to sacrifice one thing. Especially for those who have to go overseas, who want to hit all of these big conventions, but because they're coming overseas, they only can commit to like maybe one or another convention because of the time frame. And this is just going to make it so more people have opportunities to go and such.
Well, and especially in the case of both of those shows, the target customer for those shows is retailers. And so to make a retailer choose between two shows, when there aren't really that many shows out there that are targeted at retailers, it definitely is good to get those. And they're spaced out, but they're still close enough. Like you mentioned, Bonsai, somebody coming from overseas, a retailer, or more likely an exhibitor or a distributor or an overseas publisher, could conceivably come and do both shows because they're back to back.
Yes, indeed. And now for this, we have exciting news from Galleon Night Games. Javion, tell us all about it.
Absolutely. So, if you are a fan of Gallant Night Games, you might have already subscribed to the newsletter from their website, like I did. And you might have heard about the new D6 second edition that is going to be released in hardcover full color. Now, so far, we don't have a lot of information on what the changes are going to be from the original West End Games' D6 system, but we do know that there's going to be a lot of updated language. Traditionally, there haven't been a lot of new additions when it comes to all the different iterations or evolutions of the D6 system, but now we're getting a full relaunch of it with a bunch of new ways of running your D6 games. So it's going to be segmented into different modules, sort of plug-and-play style modules that you can pick and choose which ones to add into your game depending on setting, experience of the players, or personal preference. So these modules include things like the core rules, which I think most people are going to be using, advanced rules, which you can take or leave, fantasy, superhero, and science fiction genres with much more modules on the way. Now, the book itself is going to be a hardcover, but it's going to be in the same style as many of Gallant Night Games' other books, in that it's going to be 7 inches by 10, so it's pretty small size, but still hardcover, and 200 pages long, so you're going to get plenty of content in it as well. I know that they've been using the D6 system. They have a full license for it for a lot of their other games that Gallant Night Games produces, like the Tiny Dungeon games or Tiny Taverns or Advanced Tiny Dungeons, Tiny Frontiers, Tiny Superheroes, a bunch of other tiny D6 games, but there's a bunch of other ones as well. So I was really happy to hear that there's a cool new system to try out. I think D6 systems, or just this one in particular, is really great for people who want to play simple role-playing games. They don't want a ton of tactics. They don't want a ton of rules. They just want to have a game to play, to pull out anytime they want, make an easy not even an easy system, but an easy campaign or story, even a little one-shot in between their games. And the D6 system has always let me do that. And I'm sure people are very excited to find that this system's getting an update, going to have even more potential as all of these different RPGs are coming out to have more games played in much more different ways. And for all the people out there who are arguing about does system matter? Or can you just make a narrative game regardless of what system you're playing? Well, I think this is a good opportunity to try something out that's going to get all the fluff out of the way and get to the heart of what we're trying to do. Roll some dice, see what happens, make some games, make some stories.
Yeah, and I totally agree. D6 systems, Javion, like they're a good intro for people who need to step their toes out of like the regular D&D path that a lot of people go down. And sometimes Savage World is a little intimidating, but like if you only
Yeah.
have D6, and then also games that require way too many D6s, what is it called? Ah, man,
Warhammer.
it's not.
Called Warhammer.
Yeah, well, but yeah. Sorry, you guys can't see Noir's like just laughing on the side. But no, thank you for bringing that to our attention, Javion. Now, you know what, speaking of Warhammer and all those like little accessories and everything like that, I feel like never heard that maybe this little name, you might know, Games Workshop has something going on. What do you think, Noir?
Yes, they do have something going on. And what's going on is that Games Workshop raises price for the third year in a row. Just thank you, Jeffrey Dos Sanchez, for this fantastic news. Um, Game Workshop has announced that it will raise its prices on products starting June 10th, 2024. For the third year in a row, Warhammer products will become more expensive. The reasons given by Games Workshop for the latest price increases were essentially that the world keeps getting more expensive, with materials and transportation being noted as two costs that have been trending upward. The next round of price increases will see miniature products go up between 3 to 5%. The one bright spot in all of this, however, is that paint pots, paint sets, White Dwarf, and Black Library products will not be going up in price. Game Workshop also recently announced that it will release Combat Patrol, Chaos Space Marines, a new box set for Warhammer 40K. Now I'm of three minds about this. Um, One, there's no R, which is I see this and I go, man, it's already expensive. I can't keep doing it. I can't. Um, and then there's the 40K fan of me, which is like a small price to pay to honor the emperor. And the third one is just a mix of the two. Um, Listen, when you got into Warhammer, you knew what it was.
Yeah,
All right.
I will.
There's a point in this hobby where you gotta just accept maybe some nights I have sleep for dinner, and that's okay because we have to honor the emperor.
Well, if you want, I could also appeal to more of your for the Games Workshop. I don't know if you remember, but Games Workshop, like for the past 2 years, also with their increased sales, have been known for really treating everybody in their company right. Like
Yeah.
especially everything coming over. So that money does trickle down. If that makes you feel any better, they're like, hey, we treat our employees. So you're feeding families.
Yeah, I mean, Games Workshop. Nobody should be surprised by this. We know what it is. All right, Game Workshop is gonna run our pockets, and we gonna say thank you. They've been doing this from the beginning. The first time you bought a figure from Games Workshop, you signed your soul. It's over. Just accept this.
So, Nora, I have a question for you, though.
Yes.
This is a casual observation. I've been watching you in the spaceship, in the stars. I got to tell you, you're just flying in circles, man.
Honestly, I'm flying in circles because I had to sell my star base because this new Chaos Space Marine set I really wanted.
Okay.
So I had to sell my space hole.
Yeah.
I don't know how you drift in a circle, but you're managed to pull it off.
We'll definitely have to see things going. And I will say, just as a note to think about, when the Warhammer TV series starts to come out, and if that becomes hugely successful, I'm
Yeah.
gonna say there's gonna be something that you have to make note whether or not the price is going to go up or
It,
down.
it is gonna go up. Like let's not pretend there's a world in which Warhammer gets super popular because of the movies and then things get cheaper. That's not gonna happen. They're gonna have an exclusive Henry Cavill as the Emperor minifigure that they only
Oh.
make so many of, and
Oh,
I will fight my way through the lines to get it because Warhammer owns me at this point.
we'll have to see what that turns out. Maybe people will become fanatic for the Emperor. We'll have to see. Speaking of which, I see a plush. Javion, tell me about it.
Yes, in lighter news, we can all here's a headline we can all get behind. Thank you to Jeffrey Dome Sanchez of ICV2 for this article. So perhaps you are a fan of plushies. Perhaps you are a fan of dice. Long the twain have longed to meet, and the moment has finally arrived. It's a red dragon plush from Fanroll by Metallic Dice Games. You might have seen them at Gen Con several times. They love showing off dice accessories or just a bunch of accessories in and around the fandom, not just of D&D, but the whole tabletop community. And this dragon plush is no mere plush. It may be cute. It may be a red dragon, but it can also house dice. It is currently on pre-order if you want to check out the link in chat there. How do you store dice in this dragon, you may ask? Do I tear open its belly and stuff them inside in some grotesque abomination? No, the dragon eats it. You place the little dice in the dragon's mouth and then you chomp its jaws, and then it gets stored inside the dragon, accessible through a zipper on the dragon's back. This magnificent wonder can hold up to 200 of your dice, keeping them safe and warm in the dragon's belly. No safer place for dice, if you ask me. Unfortunately, there is no poop function for this plushie. If you want something like that, you'll have to create it yourself because the bottom is nice and secure. You can only access the dice from the back. Bonsai. Bonsai is clearly into this idea. So, plush creators out there, I implore you, give us the gelatinous cube where we can stick our dice inside and keep them nice and warm and jiggly.
And organized.
Give us, sorry, what, Peter?
And organized.
And
right?
organized. It's a little, it's just an idea. I'm brainstorming. No bad ideas in a brainstorm, right?
Yeah,
Check it out.
no bad ideas.
Get your Red Dragon on pre-order.
No. I mean, the only thing that came to mind with this is that I don't know if you guys may have known, but like in the 90s and 80s, there was this doll where you could feed. And that's what that reminds me of. Like this little doll, you were able to feed her food, and it was a prepackaged mush. You could feed her, and then it pushed the food down, and you would have to change the diaper. That's all I was thinking when you were saying that. But I do like the idea of stuffing a dragon with dice. In a weird way. And also, there was, I believe, last year for Gen Con, they did have a Gen Con exclusive gelatinous cube that you could put stuff in, which was really, really cute. I ended up buying one, but then giving it away to one of my friends, Little, because they really liked it. And I was like, oh, I can't keep this because, I have to pass it on to the younger generation. So I gave it to them because they were so into it. But yeah, I would say gelatinous cube would be a good one, but make it kind of see-through. I want to be able to see the dice jiggling around in there. If it would.
I saw this thing and I wanted to hate it, but I couldn't because it's actually really flipping adorable. But I'm getting sick of red dragons getting all the love. All right, there are so many other different dragons, and everything is red dragon, and I'm getting real tired of it. All right, what about silver dragons? They're
What about
cool.
Themberchod?
Oh,
That's
that
another
would've been
red
a better
dragon.
one. Oh yeah, you're right. It's another red dragon.
You see what I'm talking about?
It's
Well,
because
they have-
fire is so hot right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a gold dragon, and those are the good guys. We're celebrating. Red dragons are the bad guys, yo.
They are the bad guys. Metallic dragons are the ones. Like, what is it? Solid color dragons are bad. Metallic dragons
Chromatic
are the good ones.
dragons are evil. Metallic dragons are good.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
what about like if you could, as an example, Tiamat? That would be a good one. You could each individual one could be.
She is entirely evil.
The evil.
Yeah, but you could feed multiple dice into all the different. I'm thinking about multiple dice. If you're gonna feed things into dice, I mean, also, hey, the Owlbear plush company, it wouldn't take you much to just cut open that mouth and make it so you can feed the Owlbear dice. I like this line of plushies that you can feed dice to. Maybe
What
that's
if
just
there was some sort of D20 that could turn into a dragon? Oh, wait, there already is, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and it's another red dragon. Do you see my
all right. I feel like while we have this this idea, silly discussion going on, and what we want, I feel like we should bring in the silly discussion of the week that I am bringing to you. So this is going to be another silly discussion to kind of just get to know more of what's cooking in our brains versus all these various articles. For this week's discussion, I am talking about games that you wish would be reprinted or sold within the United States. So, for example, what is a game that you desperately wish you could get your hands on and don't want to pay $500 on eBay for? Mine would be Pitch Car and all of its expansions. Pitch Car is a really fun all ages game that is very popular in EU circuits. It's a little disc that you can flick, and there's like ramps and stuff that you can make. It's really fun. They sometimes have big meetups for it. And another one that would like this is for my partner really likes is the Carcassonne catapult thing. Not because it's like a good thing. It's just so infamously bad that he wants copies of it as gag gifts to give to people. But currently on eBay they're like $200 each for it. What game comes to mind for all of y'all?
Immediately? Like I'm gonna answer your question wrong if that's okay.
Go ahead.
All right. The Fantasy Flight Star Wars TTRPG is brilliant, but they need a second edition. They need to update it. I want that. Look, it's great because like they had core rule books for literally everything. They had one for pilots, one for like politicians, for Jedis, for Sith. I want that again, but I need them to flesh out the rules. And then the second one that I want them to bring back is the Tales of the Crypt TTRPG. I want that book so bad. I've gone to Gen Con 2 years in a row looking to see if somebody that's my holy grail. If somebody has the Tales from the Crypt TTRPG Ghoul Guy, please let me know. You can't buy it anywhere.
All right, my
right.
turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, we're all worried about what the next edition of D&D is going to be, whether they're going to fix the Paladin. I know Noir is really particularly worried about this. I think you should just bring back original D&D. Let's just start over. Let's just like go back to OD&D and then do AD&D. Just that's my vote.
Oh, you're saying greatest hits. Would you put it in a collector's edition, greatest hits? So everyone has to buy up to 5?
I think what you do is you put it like, you know, you come out with the original set and you have the original books exactly they were, and then you have the version that kind of fixes it. You know, it's like somebody goes through and edits it and actually makes it workable. I don't know. This is a dangerous path. Let's move next. Davion, what would you do?
Davion.
Well, I've got 2. There's a Kickstarter from Indie Boards and Cards a long time ago, before I even knew what Kickstarter was, really, for a game called Gauntlet of Fools. I'm designing a game that uses a lot of the mechanics in it because I'm very inspired by it, and I haven't seen anybody do that yet. And I have a copy, but it's awful. It's gross. It's ripped up, and there are pieces missing, and I want a new one, but I really can't get one. So that one, and then there's also a game that was insanely popular, and I don't know why it's not getting a reprint, called Shadow Hunters. It's a game with all these different factions. It's sort of like a hidden identity game meets a battle royale where you're trying to like kill all the opponents that you're not really sure who is on your side and who isn't. It's really fun. There's a lot of fun reveals in it, and everybody's like tossing dice at each other. It's really fun. So I have a copy of that, but somebody spilled boysenberry apple cider on it. And it smells like cider now, so I want my new copy.
Oh
Oddly specific.
no. That's very, I'm sorry. I just hate it when people spill things on books, especially if it's very vinegary. Ooh, I'm sorry.
Lingers.
It lingers. It lingers. And it makes the pages all weird and like
Yeah.
warped.
Never the same.
Well, but that is good. Like that is actually like for you guys in chat, what do you suppose that you would like? We had somebody saying talisman, not
The original
costume and
Talisman.
talisman. Sorry, I don't know why I was like talisman. My bad. Talisman, not costume, an arm and a leg. That's actually a pretty good one to choose on there. And it's cool to get everybody's insights on what it is. If you asked me like a month ago, I would also be like Star Wars dice, but we actually got that. So like you can just manifest these things in the world if you shout enough times over years that you want things back, like the Star Wars dice sets that are now available for everybody. But with that, that is the end of our headlines and our discussion, and we are going to be going to Crowdfunder Court. Go!
Welcome to Crowdfunder Court. Here come the judges. Prepare to be judged. All right, court is now in session.
And with that, I call upon Peter to the stands. What have you brought for us today?
Yes, Your Honor. If I can approach the bench, I would like to present an excellent case for Lumberjills. Lumberjills is currently being funded on Kickstarter. It's raised $15,600 as of last time I checked before the show, versus a goal of $17,500 with just 4 days to go. This is one of those great crowdfunders that rarely comes along, where you have a fascinating game idea from an insightful designer and it's down to the wire, where your contribution could really make a difference. Lumberjills is a live-action role-playing game about the women of the World War II Women's Timber Corps felling giant trees. It just makes me want to yell out, timber! Making lifelong friendships and finding their dance cards forever full. With techniques built to make you feel physically competent without needing to be, Lumberjills frees you to immerse in a story about being strong, being loved, and choosing the life you want to live. World War II created an unprecedented demand for lumber, gun stocks, mining pit props, ships, barracks, and telegraph poles. For every soldier in the war, British Forestry Commission declared that 5 trees were required to support him in the fight. With British soldiers off the war, lumberjacks from the Americas came to cut timber in the forests of Scotland. When the demand continued to exceed the labor supply, the Women's Timber Corps was born. Heeding the call, British women came from all walks of life into the wild green of the Scottish Highlands to do their part for the war. This game was inspired by the first-hand accounts of these lumberjills. They described the work as grueling and often dangerous, cutting down trees, processing, milling, and transporting lumber from sunup to sundown 6 days a week. They said that the work was daunting at first, but they surprised themselves by quickly becoming competent and confident. They made friendships that lasted a lifetime. They were gleeful when recounting the suitors that clamored to fill their dance cards at the lumber camp dances. Their experience as lumberjills was full, bright, green, fresh air, outdoors, big work, great friends, delightful romances, and a whole new sense of who they were and what they wanted out of life. As you can see, this write-up is really good. I have to skip a lot of it in the interest of time, but I want to add one little paragraph I really liked. Feel great, play. Lumberjills is a different kind of game. Lumberjills is built on joy, support, capability, and choice. Character experiences are front and center, with the war only distantly in the background. Players are empowered to drive their own stories and are dedicated to helping each other fulfill them. Lumberjills comes to you from Moira Turkington, an award-winning Canadian LARP game designer and theorist with a background in cultural studies and theater. She designs immersive, transformative, and political games and enjoys creating a multiplicity of media, design, representation, and play. Past credits include the Diana Jones Award finalist Rosenstrasse, and as curator and creator of the Warbirds anthology of games about women in World War II.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead. Lumberjills. If you guys are in it, there's a link in chat already. And since you did such a good presentation, I would like to go next. And mine will be the 13 Age, 2nd edition. So this is a quote directly from this. A tabletop RPG incorporating the best parts of D20 rolling fantasy gaming with story-focused rules that get refreshed and modernized. So this, if you're not familiar with 13 Age, this comes from the creators Rob Heinsu, or Sue, and Jonathan Tweed from 3rd and 4th edition lead designers. They're getting a 2nd edition. This is a Theater of the Mind first kind of RPG. For this, they did make this version backwards compatible. So if you are a fan of the original 13 Age edition, you can play this and it is compatible. Most notably, they started most noteworthy changes is that they are moving from new spells for every character, like basically as opposed to every other level. Some changes to fighters and bard classes, but for the most part, 13 Age 2nd edition is just slight tweaks of the improvement of rules and slight tweaks with editing. So it just makes it seem like it flows smoother and easier to read. But not as much big changes. I will admit that I was hoping for more changes with that. But I mean, I'm still gonna back this because it's something I've been waiting for 13 Age to come out. So if you are a fan of this and really want to do Theater of the Mind and also want to do fun mechanics like what is it? A counter die for battle. So they like every other battle. There's a plus to a d6, so you have 6 rounds, and increasingly as you get into battle, it makes it so people can go through battles, and battles don't last like 30 minutes. They give you pluses every round your character survives into it. It's really cool battle mechanics. I just say come in and look at it. So that's 13 Age 2nd edition for you, and that is on Kickstarter. Now, I feel like, Noir, do you have a challenger to this?
Oh yeah, I do. And let's just jump into it. It's Kobold Press, and they're bringing us Campaign Builder, Dungeons and Ruins. And I would be remiss not to mention that we are in the midst of the Kobold Con that our guest Dot was telling us about from our interview a week back. But getting back to Campaign Builder, Dungeons and Ruins. This is a 256-page hardcover with 12 poster map folios that are going to ship together in February 2025. The posters, the maps are all dry erase, so you can put your little customizations on there if need be. The volume includes 10 new monsters, 8 new dungeoneering subclasses, a plethora of lootable gear and magic items, dozens of traps and hazards, and much, much more, all play-tested and developed by the Kobold Press team. Again, because we are in the midst of their Kobold Con, I got to watch a little video of the creation of this, and not only do they help you put together dungeons and ruins of your own, but it helps you establish the lore behind them. They give you story beats for why certain traps are there. Not all traps are traps designed to kill. Some are designed to subdue. So if you're trying to build like a classic kick the door down dungeon, you can do that. Or if you want to have more of a cerebral kind of, torturing your players dungeon, you can do that as well. And it's really easy to put together a dungeon really quickly with this book. That's what I'm grateful for, because sometimes when you're GMing, you're like, oh man, I put so much thought to the plot that we actually have to build the dungeon. Crap. So definitely check this one out. They had a goal of $40,000. They absolutely crushed it at $236,623 with 3,012 backers and 5 days to go. This is one that you're going to want to check out. Keep your eyes on Cobalt PressCon. They're announcing some really cool stuff. And Tales of the Valiant is out as well, so check that out. But that is my crowdfunder presentation.
Very well, very well. And I also like the shout out that they are having their digital con right now, happening right now. So if you go ahead and go to the website, it should link you to the Cobalt Press convention that is happening, digital convention that is going on right now. And last but not least, Javion, what do you have for us?
Today, I brought a Kickstarter by the name of Regicide Legacy. Fans of the series might have heard of the original game Regicide, or perhaps you played it on Board Game Arena. It's a cooperative game about cards with numbers on them, much like your normal playing cards, but with a slight twist. Playing the cards means that you'll deal damage to your enemy, and if you deal enough, then you'll get to move on to the next mission. It's a pretty straightforward kind of thing, cooperative gameplay with hidden information and stuff like that. It's pretty fun, and now it's got its legacy game treatment, meaning that you're going to play through 12 unique missions with your party, trying to unlock rewards and discover the secrets of corruption. There's a tiny goblin by the name of Sketch that introduces the game to you, and there's a ton of content in it. It's a pretty simple setup at first. Everybody just lays out their player board, grab your player reference, try to see how much corruption you have to reduce before the game ends. But then the missions come into play, adding more and more unique challenges as you go along, something very specific, something very surprising in each box. You are recruiting heroes along the way. It's got a very large amount of replayability in terms of getting through to the end with a lot of variance, but as it is a legacy game, the replayability kind of just stops there. So hopefully there are some reusable parts or a way to reset the game. I'm not really sure about that yet, but I do recommend playing Regicide, and if you want to check out the Legacy Edition here, it does play 1 to 4 players, and each mission only takes about 30 to 45 minutes. So here's another game to add to your co-op game collection if you're looking for one.
Thank you very much, Javion. I feel like everybody did a great presentation, and so everybody gets to keep your heads. And so good, so good. But with that, Peter, you know what time it is. It's that end. But hey, we got a lot more shows going on. Peter, what do we have in store?
Yes, indeed, Bonsai. This does conclude another alarmingly good episode of Table Takes. But sadly, Sarah's Table will not air tonight, but tomorrow, join us for the aforementioned discussion and actual play about original 1974 era Dungeons and Dragons with DM John Peterson here at 10 a.m. Pacific time here on Gen Con TV. And on Monday, I will return for Peter versus Machine at 9 a.m. Pacific, where I might finish my game. It's embarrassing how badly I am beating the other civs in this game. I am just crushing it. It's gonna be over soon. I actually not sure I recommend coming and watching it because it's just embarrassing how badly they're doing. But then at 6 p.m. we will have Dress to Quest. On Tuesday we will have Vampire the Masquerade with Indie by Night at 7 p.m. On Wednesday we will have Miniature Painting with Rick Ankeny, Path of the Brush at 4 p.m. And then I will be DMing Actoroki at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. That's Pacific time. On Thursday morning at 10 a.m., we will have Blood on the Clock Tower, and then join us again at 5 p.m. for some Shadowrun from Roll with Rem Alternus. And then you know what happens Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific. We're back for Table Takes. Thank you to the Gen Con TV crew. Thank you to AJ for subbing in for Marcus Mays. Thank you to Steve Connard, Sarah Moore, Tanel Levitt. Thanks to my delightful co-hosts, Javion, Bonsai Baby, and the Noir Enigma. And thanks to most of all to you for watching and hanging out with us in chat. Remember, follow Gen Con TV for more of the best 4 days in gaming all year long, right here on twitch.tv/GenConTV. Thank you.
Why? Keep we're still